Hey, good lunchtime to you guys. How is everyone today? Good to see you all here. I hope everyone's doing well. I apologize for running a little late today. It was not my intention. I wasn't just blowing you guys off. I thought I had 6 more minutes. It turns out the clock on my PC over yonder is lagging behind a little, which doesn't make any damn sense. It should be running the same time as this one because both of them are running on internet time, whatever atomic clock time service. So all I can imagine is that I don't know, the BIOS clock is slow on that, and for some reason it's superseding whatever internet time service I intended to use was, or what. So I apologize for my lateness. Happy holidays to you, by the way. And it is the holidays. Look, I'm not one of those weirdos that is like, Halloween is the supreme holiday, and it... No, man, I'm a Christmas guy at heart, right? Halloween's fun and everything. I mean, it was super fun when my kids were little and would trick or treat a lot, but they really don't anymore. My youngest is the one who still likes to costume. My oldest is like, She likes to go over and hang out with her friend on Halloween, and if they're going to go around and trying to collect some candy, they might put a little effort into something, but she's in her late teens, so it's not really a thing with her anymore. My youngest, she likes to have fun still with the costumes and such. But there's a there's a world of difference between now and the way it was when they were both little. The trick-or-treating, that is. So Halloween isn't my supreme holiday. I don't go out and do anything on Halloween. I don't go to Halloween parties, anything like that. But Halloween is a fall holiday, just like Thanksgiving is a fall holiday. And what comes after Thanksgiving? Christmas. And then, we have New Year's, which is... It's a celebratory time, I guess. It's a holiday. It's beginning and ending of the year. And it's just kind of an arbitrary point we picked. New Year's could be July 16th. It could be, September 8th. It could be May 1st. That's historically the way where the calendar seemed to fit. But I digress. It is the start of the holiday season. It is that lovely downhill run until Christmas. And that makes me happy. That makes me very happy. No, I'm not going to start doing the show in a Santa Claus hat next week, or even the week after Christmas, or the week after Thanksgiving, or anything like that. I just like this time of year. I just really like this time of year. Hello, IR. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Which old witch? I have my nice cold water there. And by the way, something I should point out. Trick or treat in Florida is usually done in like 90-degree mosquito-filled weather. So, unless we've had a late season hurricane or rain front come through. I know it's getting like freezing cold already in certain places of the country. Like, I watch a lot of car repair videos, and it seems like my favorite car fixing on folks are in the Midwest, actually. And, they're already like, it's in the evening, so I got to get my jacket on. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of do that here in Florida, except, it's It's October, or it's January, so I got to get a jacket on for like 4 days and then put it back in the closet. We just don't have cold weather here. Well, we don't have cold weather for you guys. We don't have cold weather. For us, it's cold weather. Every now and again, we'll get one of those weird fronts, like you'll see that jet stream front that just blows through, and it'll make it all the way into Florida. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't care where in the world you are. 19 degrees at 3 o'clock in the morning is cold. I don't care if it only lasts for like 6 or 8 hours versus like it's 90 degrees at 3 o'clock in the morning and it's going to be 19 degrees at lunchtime later that same day. Because where you are, 19 degrees is cold. All right. We have had occasional weirdo cold snaps in this state in my life living here where there were daytime temps in the 20s. And these people that are like, oh, you're Southern people don't know what cold is. Yeah, we do. We just hate it a whole lot more. We're just less tolerant of it than you are. You know? You folks from up north have gotten used to it. And speaking of people who are used to the cold, hello, Samoli. How are you? Good to see you. So I had a request last week. It's not really going to impact on today, but I had a request last week to talk about Module S3, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. So next week, I think we're going to take an episode out. I've looked at it a little bit from an historical point of view, sort of a D&D Antiques Roadshow. But from a play standpoint, I think we're going to take a look at S3, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. And if you don't know what module that is, first of all, shame on you. But second of all, it is the module that is pure science fiction. I mean, yes, you've got AD&D characters and they can cast spells and you know, they're in their D&D armor and that sort of thing. But everything around them is science fiction. So we're going to take a look at that one on request and then dive into that. And speaking of things we've dived into, yesterday we talked about devils and demons in the context of would you or should you use associated powers with greater and lesser gods and demigods with devils and demons. I think if you are playing in the world of Greyhawk, which is what we're talking about now, then absolutely, you know, you should give Baphomet or oh gosh, who else were we making fun of me pronouncing? Or you know, Baphomet or Asmodeus. They're due in Greyhawk. You should absolutely be adding the greater and lesser god or demigod powers to evil demons on top of what they already have listed. Just, they shouldn't be pushovers. They're lords of hell in the abyss. So you should absolutely be using them. That is my 2 cents. Note, I don't say it's my 2 copper pieces. My 2 copper pieces bothers me. And I'll tell you why. It is 10 coins to a pound in AD&D. That means an AD&D coin weighs 1.6 ounces. And 1.6 ounces or 3.2 ounces of copper, that is 2 copper pieces, I think is worth more than 2 cents. Let's see. Or it may be less. Yes, so copper price per ounce is 26 cents. 26 cents an ounce. So 2 copper pieces is 52 cents, not 2 cents. That's 26 times your weight in opinions. So I don't say my own 2 copper pieces. I'll say my 2 cents. Copper price per ton, by the way, is $8,460 US dollars. Just in case you were curious, and I know you were. That's why you guys come to this channel, for all the latest, updated to the minute prices on precious and semi-precious metals and commodities. That's what my format's switching to in 2022, by the way, is stocks, bonds, and metals prices. That's, you know. I'm kidding, of course, as I watch my subs plummet. That reminds me of a very funny joke. I guess a few years ago, Jimmy John's, the sub shop, who, by the way, I don't care for Jimmy John's that much. If I have to go get a fast food sub, I'm gonna go get Subway, but I'm not gonna get Subway. If I want a sub, I'll go to Publix and I'll get a good sub. But Jimmy John's tweeted out, "Tell us your favorite way to top your sub." Did nobody at Jimmy John's, did they have no way to know? I mean, I think they knew. I have to think they know. But like, their next tweet was blocked, so blocked. Robert De Niro Asmodeus is in my head now. It's a simple soul-binding contract signed in blood. Sign it. Sign it again. Although that sounded a little bit more like Al Pacino, didn't it? It's a simple soul-binding contract. Sign it. Sign it again. Which, if you think about it, that sounds a little bit like Christopher Lloyd as Reverend Jim from Taxi. Whoa, can you imagine a movie in the late 1970s starring Christopher Lloyd and Al Pacino? So you're some kind of taxi driver. Oh, I'm some kind of taxi driver. And then, of course, you could have a cameo by Robert De Niro stepping in saying, I'm some kind of taxi driver. Anyway. Hoo-ah! My favorite ridiculous out of nowhere is this Nicolas Cage or Al Pacino we're dealing with line. I mean, everybody quotes "Sent from a Woman," but for me, it's Michael Mann's phenomenal. I mean, absolutely, it's one of the best films ever made. I would put it in like my top dozen films. It's because my top 10, there's just not enough room for all the films that I love in the top 10. It is one of my favorite films, and that's Heat, which is it is a crime saga par excellence. And when I call it a saga, I mean it is a saga in the Nordic tradition. It is a tragedy across the board. All right. The Viking skalds could not have invented a bloodier, more tragic story than the one that unfolds in Heat. But there's a scene where they are interrogating a guy who has some ancillary connection to a crime. Harry Shearer, of all pieces, yes, from The Simpsons. And Pacino is browbeating the guy, and he's like, "Look, I understand. You were attracted to her. She's good looking. She's a great woman. and she's got a big ass. And just the way he delivers the line, it just completely takes you out of the modern noir drama grimness of the scene. I mean, all this gravitas throughout the movie. And he delivers this ridiculous line to this guy. Just this complete furniture chewing line, and it is hilarious. I love it. Oh my gosh. How did we get here? Oh yeah, Paul was talking about Robert De Niro as Asmodeus. Look at the illustration in the Monster Manual. Look at like, you know, here I'm gonna do this. It's Robert. I'm gonna show you guys. And as it is the time of Halloween, I do recommend that you okay, so let me see if I can get this to pop up here. I do recommend you see Angel Heart. It is a hell, no pun intended, of a scary movie, and I'm not going to spoil it. Well, no, of course that's not going to show up. Unless it's behind things. Is it behind? Do I need to... Nope. Alright. Here. You know what? I'll put the link in the chats and you guys can check the image out myself. Look at that. That is Robert De Niro in Angel Heart, which is a horror movie starring Mickey Rourke before Mickey Rourke changed his look, let us say. And there it is in Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook at some point in the future, because there's nobody there now. And now look here. Let me see. Let me find this. Demons. Devils. Not dinosaurs. We should talk about dinosaurs in D&D one day. See? Asmodeus. Right there. I think it's frighteningly similar. Anyway, we talked about devils and demons, and we talked about all that fun stuff and what I think they should be if you're playing in the world of Greyhawk. And they should be the ones that your demi-humans worship or pray to. Just a passerby. Angel Heart is a movie that was before its time. It should have been released in the second half of the 90s. Fits perfectly along with The Usual Suspects, etc. Yes, Angel Heart was incredibly before its time. It was incredibly, amazingly before its time. But it's just got this vibe that, like, it doesn't let you go. Like, you start watching it and you're like, yeah, okay, this is kind of a compelling, sexy noir film with some suspense overtones, and then it just does this hard right turn into darkness that you did not see coming. And I'm not going to spoil it because I want you to see it. And if you want to know what it would be like for your characters to deal with a a truly, truly evil mind F villain, yeah, watch Angel Heart. But we talked a little bit about gods and what they do. We've talked about Celestian. We talked about St. Cuthbert, Erithnal, Elana. Now this, I'm glad we saved Pharlayn for today, because I want to look at Pharlayn, and I definitely want to look at Herronius. I know I've got a player in my game. I don't know if he's a regular fan of the show. I hope you are, James. But we're going to talk a lot about Herronius today. I could be wrong. I can't remember if it was Pelor, Fultus, or Herronius who was the first god of Greyhawk. I feel like it was... I don't mean the first god as in the game lore. I mean in the lore of the history of D&D. As in they said we need a god. We need a lawful god. So I'm not sure which one it was. Which one of those trio it was. But we'll talk about that. So, Pharlayn, Dweller on the Horizon, armor class -6. Move any. He can go anywhere he wants. I want to move 1,024 yards in a single round. Okay. I want to move from this side of the globe to that side of the globe in a single round. Okay. It's crazy. So move any hit points 262. Number of attacks 2. Damage per attack 5 to 20 plus 2. So 7 to 22. So it's 5d4 plus 2 damage. Special attacks and defenses, see below. Magic resistance 80%, medium sized. Alignment, neutral. Worshipper's alignment, any but neutral preferred. Which is wild, a chaotic evil worshipper of Pharlayn. But again, neutral preferred. Symbol, disc with a curved line across it, the horizon. Plane, earth. Prime material plane. That's right. Pharlayn keeps his court on earth. 9th level cleric, 9th level druid. He's not a fighter. 9th level illusionist and magic user. 20th level thief. Not a bard. All psionic attack defense abilities. Strength 18, intelligence 18, wisdom 20, dexterity 20, constitution 20, charisma 19. Always moves as if he wore boots of striding and springing. The various forms... I'm sorry. I got a little glare on the screen or something. The various forms of the ray that can be shot from the Earth disk have the following effects. Pale yellow. This ray is equal to brightness to continual light, has a diameter of 6 feet, and can be projected up to 660 feet. Brilliant gold. This intense beam is bright enough to cause any creature struck in the eyes to become permanently blinded. Save versus spells applies. The ray's diameter is just under 8 inches, and it can be projected out to 66 feet. Even those who save when struck full in the eyes, as well as creatures within 3 feet of its shaft, will be dazzled by its brilliance and unable to see for 1 to 10 segments. Burning fiery golden light. This coruscating rod lances forth to slice through virtually anything out to a distance of 16 feet 6 inches. The ray will cut through a ½ inch of stone or 1/24 inch of steel in one blast. He has a laser. Creatures struck by this pencil-thin ray suffer 10 to 60 points of damage. Save versus spells negates all damage. The intense heat of this beam will instantly set aflame any combustible object it touches. So do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. It's the Goldfinger Ray. In addition to the spells commensurate to his level of expertise as a magic user, illusionist, cleric, and druid, Pharlayn also has the following spells available on an unlimited basis: Dig, Dimension Door, Dispel Magic, Earthquake, Find the Path, Fly, Improved Invisibility, Move Earth, Pass Plant, Pass Wall, Polymorph Self, Pass Without Trace, Plant Door, Rock to Mud, Stone Telt, Stone to Flesh, Transport via Plants, Wall of Thorns, and Windwalk. He also has the following spells on a limited basis: Duo Dimension once per day, Phase Door twice per day. If desired, Pharlayn can summon any one of the following types of earth elementals. A dust elemental. Now, here we're introducing new kinds of monsters. A 16 hit dice earth elemental doing only 2 to 12 points of damage per attack, but able to form a choking, blinding cloud of dust which covers an area of 9,000 cubic feet. In the latter form, the elemental does not strike, but it obscures the vision of all within it to a 1-foot range and causes 1 to 4 points of suffocating damage each round. In the latter state, the elemental can be harmed only by magic, but it can stay in a cloud only 3 rounds. It can be summoned only in dry, dusty areas such as deserts, prairies, etc. Now, Dungeon Masters, you have another type of earth elemental to throw at the party. 16 hit die earth elemental, Magma Elemental, a 20 hit die earth elemental doing 6 to 36 points of damage per attack, summoned only in underground areas. Mud Elemental, another one. 12 hit die earth elemental doing only 3 to 18 points, but also able to spread itself over an area of 400 square feet and slow creatures to 1/2 their normal movement, in addition to its normal attack. Summoned only in wet areas where mud already exists. Pharlayn uses all spells and powers at 18th level of proficiency, even though he is actually 9th level. Special powers take but 1 segment of time to use, save for the summoning of an earth elemental, which requires 1 round. The elemental comes willingly and serves without duress for up to 1 turn. Pharlayn can only be hit by +3 or better magical weapons. He's never surprised on the prime material plane. Spells of earth do not affect him. He regenerates 1 hit point per round. Pharlayn is not to be trifled with. Now, one thing that we don't see described here is whether or not his clerics get any special abilities, and I am inclined to say no, because there's none given. If you as the DM feel compelled, you may, but there aren't any given, so that would be up to you to decide. That would be up to you to elect. And now a favorite of one of my players at the table, Herronius, the Invincible. Armor class, -4, plus armor bonus, typically 5 for AC -9. Move, 21 inches. Hit points, 217. Number of attacks, 4. Damage, 1 to 8 plus 4. Magical weapon bonus, +8 strength bonus per attack. So he's essentially getting 13 to 20 damage per attack. Special attacks and defenses, see below. 80% magic resistance, medium size, lawful good, worshipper's alignment, lawful neutral, neutral good. Now make note of that. He is okay with neutral good types worshiping him, and lawful neutral, but neutral good types, or as I call it, the best good. Symbol, Silver Lightning Bolt. Plane, 7 Heavens. Cleric Druid, nil. Fighter, 17th level Paladin, 12th level Ranger. Magic User Illusionist, nil. Thief Assassin, nil. Monk Bard, nil. Sonic Ability, 2. All attack and defense modes. He always wears a suit of fine magical chainmail with a bonus of +5. At his birth, he had his skin imbued with a secret solution. So he's a little bit like Achilles. Weapons under +2 value cause him no harm, shattering upon scoring a hit. Magical +2 weapons score only 25% normal damage, while +3 score 50%. Only +4 or greater weapons cause full damage. Weapons whose magical power would normally sever body parts do not do so to Herronius, although they will inflict full damage. Leave your sword of sharpness at home unless you want him to take it away from you. In addition to normal attacks, Herronius can loose a bolt of energy drawn from the positive material plane. He can draw and loose such lightning-like strokes as frequently as once every 7 rounds, but he can cast no more than 7 such bolts in any given week of time. Creatures on the prime material plane suffer 5 to 30 points of damage from a stroke. Those of elemental planes suffer only 5 to 20 points of damage, as do those of lateral neutral planes. Lawful neutral, chaotic neutral. The energy bolt does no harm to inhabitants of the positive material plane or those of the upper planes. It causes 10 to 60 points of damage upon those native to the lower planes, lawful evil and chaotic evil, and all undead creatures as well. Denizens of the negative material plane suffer 15 to 90 points of damage from a stroke. A wand of negation or a sphere of annihilation can effectively discharge the stroke without harm. The bolt strikes but a single target. It is not magical in nature. It always hits its target. Now notice that. It's not magical in nature. Which means it bypasses magic resistance. If he wants to hit a demon with a thing, the demon gonna die. Range is 70 feet. Casting time is 1 segment. Duration is instantaneous. Now dig this. At 11th level, clerics of Herronius can, in addition to their normal spells, use a bolt of energy once a week. 11th level Herronius clerics get that bolt of energy drawn from the positive material plane. That is seriously bad news. Now, there has been some Greyhawk lore which suggests that Herronius and Hexdoor are cut from the same cloth, born of the same primeval forces, in effect, brothers. Paul says, secret solution seems oddly vague. I think, and again, I think it goes back to he's supposed to be like Achilles. You know, Achilles' mom dipped him in the river Styx, but held him by his ankle. Some say she just anointed him with water from it, but again, still his ankle didn't get fully in the water. So let's talk about Hexdoor. -5 plus armor bonus for his armor class. Typically 3 for AC -8. Move 24, hit points 200. Number of attacks 2, 4, or 6. Damage, see below, plus strength bonus. Damage per attack by weapon type, see below. Special attacks, see below. Special defenses, +3 or better weapons to hit. Magic resistance, 90%. Size, medium, 6 feet 6. Alignment, lawful evil. Worshipper's alignment, lawful neutral, neutral evil. So again, you'd have Hexdoor worshippers who aren't necessarily evil. Just take that into mind. Lawful neutral, neutral evil. So they can just be officious or the evilest evil, neutral evil. Symbol. His symbol is the chaos symbol. 6 red arrows fanned to point outward. Plane. Acheron. Or Acheron. Acheron? Not sure. I'm sure Paul will be here to tell us momentarily. Cleric or Druid, nil. Fighter, 16th level. No magic user or illusionist, 12th level assassin, monk or bard, nil, psionic ability, attack, defense, modes all. Strength 18, double nuts. Intelligence 18, wisdom 16, dexterity 19, charisma, constitution 20, charisma 18 or -2. In battle, he draws 2 great bows, which fire iron barbed shafts of +3 quality, which inflict 10 to 15 points of damage, d6 +9 per hit. At close range, he employs 2 spiked bucklers and 4 weapons. The former defensive devices can be employed as weapons if his opponents have 13 or fewer levels of hit dice. Otherwise, Hexdoor attacks 4 times per round. His typical weapons are 2 bucklers. That's right, he bashes you with his bucklers. A fork +2, a scimitar +3, a flail +2, and a morning star +3. For 7 to 10, bashing with the bucklers. 9 to 16 with a fork. 10 to 17 with the scimitar, 7 to 15 with a flail, and 11 to 17, that's 2d4 +9, with the morning star. His armor is +3. He's able to arouse discord in a 60-foot radius. Characters with 7 or more levels or hit dice may save versus spells. The effects last 6 rounds. Without his symbol of hate and discord, Hexdoor does not have such power, although he is able to use a symbol discord as if he were a magic user once per day. He lays the Dwemer merely by tracing the symbol with his finger. The Trumpet of Acheron calls forth 6 to 60 skeletons. Once every 6 years, it can summon a horde of 60 to 600 skeletons and 30 to 300 zombies. Priests of Hexdoor are trained in assassination. I see a lot of half-orcs worshipping Hexdoor. So that at the gain of 6 levels of clerical ability, 1 of assassin's skill is gained. Thereafter, every 2 levels of clerical skill gains 1 of assassin's ability. So by the, a 10th level cleric of Hexdoor is the equivalent of a 3rd level of assassin. That's pretty rough. We're going to go up here. I want to see... We're going to take a look, just real quick. I've heard Acheron, but I hear lots of things, man. I don't know. I hear lots of stuff. Slips him a 20. Word on the street is, Gary was channeling Greek myths. So, if you get that reference, by the way, hats off to you. Hats off to you. So I think, I don't know, we'll see. I don't know that we've got any... Oh, there's Hexdoor. Herronius. Okay, so we can look at Herronius and Hexdoor and Pharlayn and so on. So we looked at their stats. So let's talk about Pharlayn. He is the god of traveling on Earth. And he is located on Earth. Note, his plane is Earth. It's not one of the heavens. This is not to say he couldn't go there. Here's some more information about the Earth disk. It'll depict any area of the surface of the world. Pharlayn simply looks upon the disk, concentrates, and a miniature of the land desired appears in 1/12,000th representation or reproduction. It is then possible to teleport without error to any locale so pictured. The Earth disk will also shoot for a burning ray. We talked about the game mechanics of those. He can read languages and magic. He can detect charm, evil, good, illusion, magic, and snares and pits. He speaks all the tongues of Earth and communicates with other creatures in telepathic means. Pharlayn is most attentive to those on roads, paths, and in long tunnels. So it's not just walking on the roads. So you might see dwarven worshippers of Pharlayn. His connection to the Earth might actually imply a strong following amongst dwarves. He can curse an enemy. Now, this isn't covered just in the stat block section. So that any travel greater than a league distance will take twice as long as normal. Pharlayn's curse lasts a month, being removable only by a high priest of Pharlayn or by some other godling or deity able to do so. If he desires, Pharlayn can summon any one of the following types of earth elemental, which we already went over. Never surprised on the prime material plane, and spells of earth don't affect him. So the priesthood. So this is where your characters come and say, hey, I want to be a priest of Pharlayn, or I want to worship Pharlayn. You can get a little bit of info here. There's the urban and the pastoral. The former wear brown robes and are generally found in small chapels in communities. Those of the pastoral order wear green robes and minister by traveling the highways and byways, occasionally stopping at wayside shrines to Pharlayn. So there's two things there. If you roll a random encounter in the wilderness, whatever wilderness it is, whether it's rolling open plains, densely packed forest, whatever, and it happens to be cleric, definitely think about making it a cleric of Pharlayn. And also point out that there are way shrines to Pharlayn along the way. Worshippers of Pharlayn are most active in central and southwest regions of the Flannis. Followers of this deity are typically adventurers, merchants, itinerants, and the like. Services are often conducted outdoors under a sunny sky. Now let's talk about Herronius. He's a lesser god, chivalry, honor, justice, valor, and daring. He's the champion of rightful combat and chivalrous deeds. Likewise, he is the deity of those who fight for honor and strive for order and justice. Herronius often leaves the seven heavens in order to move around the prime material plane in order to aid heroic causes and champion lawful good. He is tall with coppery skin, auburn hair, and amber eyes. However, he has the power to create an illusion which makes him appear as a young boy, a mercenary soldier, or an old man. In the latter guises, he will be garbed appropriately, but he always wears a suit of fine magical chainmail. At his birth, he had his skin imbued with a secret solution which protects him from many magical weapons, magical and non-magical alike. If IR is still here, then I think he and I can both agree that's deer antler spray that he was protected with. His personal weapon is a great magical battle axe, which shrinks to 1/20th of its normal 5 feet of length or back to full size, upon Herronius willing it. Thus, in another guise, his weapon is not noticeable. In addition to his normal attacks, Herronius can loose a bolt of energy. We talked about the bolt of energy. He has all the powers of typical of a lesser deity. Now, and this is important, if you're doing the Greyhawk thing, keep this in mind and keep it in play. There is a great enmity between Herronius and Hexdoor and Herronius and his brother Hexdoor, who chose a different course. Each seeks to destroy or thwart the other. Hey, Chris. Worshippers of Herronius are found everywhere, but particularly those who follow military profession or do heroic deeds are found in a chapel of this. Let me try that again in English. Military professions or do heroic deeds are found is a chapel of this deity. Wait. I think I'm getting tripped up by the text. Worshippers of Herronius are found everywhere, but particularly where those who follow military professions or do heroic deeds are found is a chapel of this deity likely to be found. See, I think that's a typo. I think that's supposed to be are found in a chapel of this. I don't know. Clerics of Herronius are particularly warlike, always wearing chainmail. Their robes are dark blue with silver trim indicating their station. Places of worship of Herronius usually are adorned with blue trappings, silver, and occasionally windows of colored glass depicting scenes of Herronius triumphant. A copper statue of the deity, armed with a silver battle axe and covered in silver mail, with 7 bolts radiating from behind his head, typically stands behind the altar. So there you go. Now Hexdoor, his brother, he's a lesser god, lawful evil, war, discord, conflict, fitness. Hexdoor, champion of evil, herald of hell, scourge of battle, is the deity of many soldiers and fighters who deem lawful evil most fit to rule, admiring war and discord. Of course, others besides those military rallying follow him. Hexdoor dwells on the plane of Acheron, but can wander to those of hell or even nirvana. Although I think he casts darkness there to protect himself, because with the lights out, it's less dangerous. On the one hand, I'm very proud of that joke. On the other hand, I'm very, very proud of that joke. Most frequently, though, he treads on the prime material plane. See, there is a god on the PMP. Another one. That's 3. Now, granted, they're lesser gods, but you're going to encounter them on the prime material plane, possibly. And you, as the dungeon master, if you're running Greyhawk, you throw that in there. But he aids lawful evil and opposes good. Especially does Hexdoor seek to overthrow those serving Herronius. The latter is his half-brother and chief enemy. When Herronius chose lawful good, Hexdoor opted to serve lawful evil. Always inferior to his half-brother, the Lords of Evil granted Hexdoor 6 arms instead of a mere pair, so as to be able to best Herronius and all of their opponents. Hexdoor appears as a normal, handsome man when in disguise, for he can cause 4 of his arms to meld with his torso whenever he so desires. His complexion is fair and his hair is jet black, as are his eyes. He is well-spoken and charming, a hail fellow and a man's man, yet irresistible to women. No one fights like Hexdoor. No one looks like Hexdoor. I mean, am I wrong? Does this not sound like Gaston? Black hair, irresistible to women, fights all the time, manly. He can converse with sages, reason with philosophers, argue with clergy, discuss arcane secrets with Dwemer crafters. When in his true form, however, Hexdoor is gray of skin, lank-haired, red-rimmed eyes bulging from a visage horrible to look upon. Then he cares only to fight and slay. So don't run Hexdoor as just a dumb god. As just a dumb demon-like thing. All right? You are shorting yourself if you do that. In battle, he draws 2 great bows which fire iron barbed shafts, and we talked about his bows and his armor. He wears armor consisting of iron scales with strips of metal at the shoulder and cuff. A corselet of like metal guards his waist and groin. His legs are greaved. The armor is everywhere decorated with skulls. Around his neck is a symbol of hate and discord, the 6 red arrows of Hexdoor's, hanging from a chain of crudely wrought iron links. In addition to the powers normal to his station as a lesser god, fighting ability, and assassin skill, Hexdoor is able to arouse discord in his surroundings. Friend will argue with friend, irks become hate, and petty jealousy grows to seething rage. Without his symbol of hate and discord, Hexdoor does not have such power except through magical casting. Hexdoor is prone to carry a magical device, the Trumpet of Acheron, with him. This instrument can be winded once every 6 days, and we've gone over the skeletons and such. Places of worship of Hexdoor are grim, dark, and bloody. Major shrines and temples are usually built on some field of slaughter. His clerics wear black robes adorned with white skulls or gray visages, embroidered thereon. Only the higher levels have arrows of hate and discord in red, lower clerics being permitted gray ones. Much chanting accompanies ceremonies honoring Hexdoor. Wind instruments sound discordant tones, shouts and screams are voiced, and iron weapons are struck during such offering. Priests of Hexdoor are trained in assassination. Hexdoor is much honored in the Great Kingdom. So there we have a great pair of gods. Now I know we talked about Pharlayn, but he's not part of this fight. But it does merit mentioning Pharlayn because Pharlayn, Herronius, and Hexdoor can all be encountered on the prime material plane. I mean, the prime material plane is Pharlayn's plane. He doesn't dwell off in some plane you have to travel to. If you worship Pharlayn, you might meet him on the road. So take that into consideration. That is pretty awesome. If you choose to throw Hexdoor at your party, and I don't mean throw Hexdoor at your party like, yeah, you know, they're 5th or 6th level. They can handle a lesser god. I just mean maybe your party is fighting as part of a larger battle, and over there fighting their opponents, or maybe even fighting on the same side they are. Is this handsome fellow who's waxing lyrical about his own deeds and hacking and slaying with the best of them. But if he does come in opposition to a party, if you are feeling that, I would recommend making it a set piece whereby he's there because he knows there's a Herronius worshiper, even if it's a member of the party. But have him offset fighting Herronius. Hexdoor shows up, Herronius is going to show up. Just to stop him from tipping things into the other hands. You know, don't throw even lesser gods or demigods at lower level parties. They won't appreciate it. The art of it will not please them. So just FYI. Just be aware. That's my opinion. So what do you guys think? What do you think of this trio of Greyhawk Gods? Now that you've heard about them, if you've never studied them before, what is your hot take on that? 6 arms, named Hexdoor, needs a He-Man face. It does, doesn't it? Except like his body would be like this muscled hexagon too. I think if it was a He-Man figure. I mean, still a humanoid torso, but it's got like just a kind of a hexagonal look to it in addition to the 6 arms. And tell me your opinions. Anybody hanging out over there on Facebook? Anyone at all? Let's take a look. Nope. But again, I always keep streaming to Facebook because Facebook's where I started and that's where a number of my friends are. And if they stop by, whether it's Todd or Anna or any of my non-D&D playing Facebook friends, that, you know, that's something I would see that, like, I'd get shouts and hellos when I was streaming on Facebook from people who, like, if they listen for more than 5 minutes, would just be like, what? Because I have a diverse range of people that I know through Facebook, like, moms in my daughter's Girl Scout troop, almost a Girl Scout tribe, who probably have like the foggiest idea what this is we do. Let's see. I like the idea of encountering deities on Earth, but would probably limit it to 1 or 2 of the quasi-deities, to be honest. And that's fine. That's fine. I just think there's a possibility when their plane is listed as Earth, such as the case of Pharlayn, you know, there's a possibility they could be encountered. And I mean, you know, Pharlayn can move any distance he wants on his movement. He might see the party coming from a few miles away and go, there's none of my followers amongst them. Now I'll just turn invisible and wait for him to pass. Keep an eye on him, make sure that they're, make sure they're not up to any mischief, any no good. And the encounter thus is therefore completely invisible to the party. Or he sees him coming, he's like, there's not any of my worshippers amongst them. Or maybe even there is a worshipper amongst them. I'm going to meld with this way shrine and wait to see what they do. And if they defile it or something, well, maybe he lays the curse on them. Or he just steps halfway across the globe just to not do it. Just like, point. But that's up to you, I'm not over here to bust your chops or tell you absolutely have to. I'm just saying you got the option and you don't have to feel weird about it. You don't have to feel like, Bill's kind of pushing us for this exalted kind of game-breaking level stuff. It's not. It's really not. You can encounter these people, and I think it's super cool that you can possibly. So that's my 02 cents. Not copper pieces. My 2 cents on that topic. So it is Friday. I have a lot of stuff I have to do this weekend. I've got to get ready for my Sunday sports live stream, which it's a college football YouTube channel. If anybody is interested, if anybody pops on in the comments and says, hey, that interests me too, I'll put the link, but I'm not going to spam you guys with it because there is a little bit of Venn diagram crossover. One of my co-hosts on the show is also a 40K fan and also tabletop gamer. He's in the comments here as Imperial Ramblings. Sorry. I've been on his live stream just the other night, just Tuesday night. In fact, it was loads of fun. So there is some Venn diagram crossover with my love of sports and my love of D&D. But I'm not going to inflict that on you guys because that may not be the case. But if you are interested, I will link it. So I basically got to keep my eye on the top 25 college football teams as ranked by the AP and coaches poll and watch what they do tomorrow and watch the Alabama Ole Miss game, of course, because we're an Alabama focused live stream cast, and then probably stay up until like 4 a.m. to get all the top 25 scores in. The University of Oregon is playing Hawaii at Hawaii. The game doesn't start until 11 o'clock Eastern. With all the commercials and everything else in the typical network broadcast sports, that means that game will not end until 3 o'clock in the morning. And lucky me, Oregon is ranked. We do a ticker and a report in our live stream on the top 25 teams. I have to get the score. And the show kicks off at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. So I've got to have all my eggs in one basket before Sunday morning. So, yeah. Oregon, could you please just fall out of the top 25? Or get high enough that you're not playing Pac-10 late night games? So that's enough of that. But if you're interested, I'll let you know. But there are two kind of sponsory things that I want to mention. I always want to give the shout out, and I'm going to play this again soon for you guys. Maybe Monday we'll play it as kind of a bit of just an audio intro to the show. Is Summer Mountains by my friends over at Bards of Greyhawk. They are, to my knowledge, one of a few, not the only one. I thought they were the only one, but they are one of a very small number of AD&D rock bands. I mean, first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons rock bands. That is a really specific niche of music. And the guys over at Bards of Greyhawk have done work with Alan Hammock, and they've gotten artwork done by some great artists. I mean, look at this cover. That looks like a classic D&D module. I'm not sure if you guys can see that real well. You know, I mean, that is something you would find on your bookshelf if that was like full sized. But yeah, thank you to Bards of Greyhawk. But also, I want to take a minute here. You guys are going to have to put up with this. There's something I need to share with you guys. It's not. I'll tell you straight up. It's not D&D related. It is not D&D related, but her Girl Scout troop is no, it's not cookies. Don't jump ahead. It's not cookies. Her Girl Scout troop is doing candies and snacks and so on. They drop ship wherever you are in the United States. I don't know about the world. I know we've got a few folks from around the globe, but at least here in the United States, you can get candy and nuts, and you can buy it from Rosemary, my daughter. So if you're interested in that kind of thing and you want to support her troop, please, by all means, head over there and get yourself a can of cashews, some caramel chocolates, something like that. But check that out. That would be awesome. I would appreciate it. She would appreciate it. And the Girl Scouts would definitely appreciate it. So, next week, more Greyhawk Gods. S3 Expedition of the Barrier Peaks. Which I think we may do on Friday. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. And that's just about all I've got today, guys. Thanks for being here. Emily says, I read a few of the Warhammer novels, the Gotrek and Felix ones by William King, quite fun. The only Warhammer fiction that I have read is the story of the Deathwing, which I bought the ebook of it just to have a copy. Like, I went to the Warhammer Black Library and I paid for it and I downloaded it and I can't find it. I may have lost it. I may put it on my external raid that died a couple of months ago, so it may be lost. But the story of the Deathwing is probably one of the best pieces of science fiction for the Warhammer universe written. I like it quite a bit. Just briefly, if you don't know, the planet that the Dark Angels gets their Terminators, their Space Marine recruits that they specifically want to groom to become Terminators, which are the guys that wear like the double-sized Space Marine armor, called Terminator armor, to fight inside Space Hulks against Gene Stealers. The Deathwing squad returns, or Deathwing chapter returns to Plains World. Now, their planet is what is classified as a feral world. And the feral world is it's like bucolic. It's like at a Bronze Age at maximum level of technology. And that's the way the Empire wants it, because it's pure, it's untainted, it's not particularly great for producing crops, it doesn't need to be strip mined down to like 2,000 miles above the core for important materials, it doesn't need to be turned into a planet-wide munitions factory, or have a bunch of hives dropped on it. It's just a pastoral world with primitive peoples who have certain attributes that kind of world produces and those attributes are desired in certain roles in the Imperium, so they let the worlds alone. And Plainsworld made the best Deathwing Terminators. When the Deathwing arrives back at their planet to basically take a tribute of volunteers, they find that all the tribes, because it's like Lakota Sioux, the 40,000 years from now, descendants of the Lakota Sioux are what populated this planet. They're all gone, and there's just this industrial hive city in the middle of the planet, and they find out that it was gene stealers who crash landed an escape pod from a Hulk that said, oh, we're going to make everything better. It's poignant. It is respectful to that culture. I really highly recommend you seek out Deathwing. Now, it's gotten retconned now. They say, oh no, that's just a made-up story. There's no Plainsworld. Deathwing aren't Lakota Sioux. That's just something that the chapter uses as a metaphor, and it's bullshit because it's one of the best things. So, you know, in my headcanon, no, the Deathwing are all exclusively from this planet of Lakota Sioux. Hi, Ricky. We're just about done. Hi and bye. We're wrapping up for the day. I was just waxing on about how awesome the Deathwing lore is. So that's the only Warhammer lore fiction, not just like stuff in books, like, you know, like rules, descriptive, and then just a little tiny like block of fiction that I've read. So Deathwing is awesome. And you guys are awesome. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by today and listening to the live stream. And it'll be there, you know, Ricky, if you just stop by and listen to it, everything's hunky-dory. You know, it'll stay up there on the bleep bloop. Sorry. So you can absolutely check that out. I hate it. I'm getting ready to wrap up and my viewer count is going up. Not huge, not enormous. 7 viewers. I mean, it is what it is. I love you guys just the same. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up there. Please do check out Rosie's snacks and stuff like that. I linked to it in the... Did some looking. I think we can do a critique of that Futurama episode. Yes, we can. Keep in touch with me about that IR. But yes, check the link there. The GS Nuts and Mags, that's for Rosemary's Girl Scout candy sales. If you feel so compelled to buy some, that would be awesome. We would appreciate it. Bards of Greyhawk. Listen to Bards of Greyhawk. Support those guys. They're awesome. And finally, I think, you know what? I'll give you guys the link. It is, let's see. My buddies over at Bards of Greyhawk. It's bardsofgreyhawk.herenow.com. Check them out. Buy candy from Rosemary. Be here Monday for more awesome show stuff. Thank you, everyone. I love you all. I mean that. You guys are awesome. You make this show worth doing, and it's a lot of fun. And I'll see you all on Monday, and we'll talk some more. Thank you, Rich. All hail Bards of Greyhawk, Rich. All hail Bards of Greyhawk. And I will see you guys Monday